Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something that's a huge step for a lot of people, the Life in the UK test. But, we're not just going to talk about the test itself. We're going to dig into what it's really all about, the values behind it. So, let's jump right in. So, you're thinking about making the UK your home for good? That's a huge deal. It's super exciting for sure. But as you can probably guess, it's about a whole lot more than just filling out forms. And that's because the whole process is really framed as a journey. It all kicks off with really getting a handle on the core values that make this society tick. The goal here isn't just to have you memorize a bunch of facts for a test, right? It's about genuine integration. All right, Section 1, welcome to the UK. Let's talk about what it actually means to become part of this society. A really good way to think about it is like you're joining a team. Any team, right? And every team has a playbook. It lays out the rules, the strategies, the shared values, basically what makes everyone work together. Well, the Life in the UK handbook, that's pretty much the playbook for joining Team UK. Okay, so let's flip open that playbook and get to the most important part, the UK's core values. These are the foundational principles that, really, everyone living here is expected to get behind and respect. And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. What you're seeing here is a direct quote from the actual Citizenship Pledge. This is the promise, the public commitment that new citizens make. It really shows you just how seriously these values are taken, how central they are to the whole idea of British identity. So, here they are, the 5 big ones. You've got things you'd probably expect, right? Democracy, individual liberty, makes sense. But then you have the rule of law, and this one is absolutely crucial. It's the idea that nobody is above the law. Not you, not me, not the prime minister. Everyone's equal. And then there's tolerance, and finally, community participation. This is the idea that you're expected to be an active part of what's going on around you. These 5 things, they're basically the pillars holding up the whole of UK society. Okay, so what does all this actually mean for you, on a Tuesday afternoon? Well, think of it as a two-way street. It's like a social contract between you and the society you're about to join. And this balance is everything. It's a give and get situation. On one hand, you have responsibilities. You've got to obey the law, treat people with fairness, but in return, you get these fundamental freedoms, things like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the absolute right to a fair trial. It's that social compact, that give and take, that makes it all work. All right, so understanding the values is one thing, but how do you, prove you understand them? That's where we get into the nuts and bolts of the process. Basically, there are 2 main roads you can take, and it all depends on your level of English. The first, and most common, is the Life in the UK test. But if your English isn't quite at that level yet, there's another option, a combined course. It's called ESOL, which just stands for English for Speakers of Other Languages, and it mixes language lessons with the citizenship stuff. So, which one's for you? It really just comes down to your English skills. Okay, let's zoom in on the test itself, since that's the path most people take. So, what should you expect when you walk in that room? It all comes down to one number, really. 24. That's it. You're going to face 24 multiple-choice questions, and they're pulled from every part of that official handbook we talked about. So it's not a huge, scary, open-ended thing. It's specific, it's focused, and honestly, it's totally manageable. Getting yourself ready is a pretty straightforward 1, 2, 3 process. Step 1, study. Get that official Life in the UK handbook and really read it. It's your Bible for this. Step 2, book it. You have to register online at the official government website. And finally, step 3, show up. Make sure you go to the test center with your ID and a proof of address. That's it. Study, book, attend. Okay, we're almost there. Let's wrap this up by talking about your next steps and, super importantly, where to get the right information. Look, with something this important, you absolutely have to go straight to the official sources. No messing around. For all the general info, you want gov.uk. To actually book the test, there's a specific site for that. And like I said, your #1 study tool is that official handbook. Stick to these and you can't go wrong. So, at the end of the day, it's really important to remember what this is all truly about. This isn't just some random hoop you have to jump through. Think of it as the gateway, your entry point to really understanding the story and the values of the community you're hoping to join. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. I mean, passing a test, that's one thing, but actually living these values day in and day out, that's something else entirely. So, the real question for you is, once you walk through that gateway, how are you going to participate? How will you make your own contribution to the community?